The novel opens with Tambu reflecting on the death of her brother, Namo, which she candidly admits was not a cause of grief for her. Namo's death, in fact, becomes a turning point in Tambu's life, as it opens up the opportunity for her to attend school, an opportunity previously reserved for her brother. Growing up in a poor rural community, Tambu's family struggles to make ends meet. Her father, Jeremiah, is a traditionalist who sees little value in educating girls, while her mother, Mshingei, is worn down by the hardships of rural life. Tambu, however, is determined to break out of the cycle of poverty and sees education as her path to a better future. From a young age, Tambu is acutely aware of the limitations placed on her because of her gender. Her desire to attend school is met with resistance from her father, who believes that educating a girl is a waste of resources. Undeterred, Tambu decides to take matters into her own hands. She starts growing and selling maize to raise money for her school fees, demonstrating her resourcefulness and determination. Tambu's struggle to obtain an education reflects the broader theme of gender inequality, as she must fight against the expectations and limitations imposed on her by both her family and society. Baba Mukuru, Tambu's uncle, plays a significant role in her life. He is the headmaster of a mission school and is seen as a success story within the family, having been educated in England. When Namo dies, Baba Mukuru decides to take Tambu in and offer her the opportunity to attend the mission school. Moving to the mission represents a dramatic change in Tambu's life, as she leaves behind the poverty and traditional values of her village for a more structured and westernized environment. However, this move also brings Tambu into a world where the contradictions of colonialism and the tensions between traditional and modern values become more pronounced. At the mission, Tambu becomes close to her cousin Nyasha, Baba Mukuru's daughter. Nyasha, who spent her formative years in England, struggles to reconcile her Western upbringing with the expectations of her Shona heritage. Nyasha's rebellion against her father's authority and the traditional gender roles imposed on her becomes a central conflict in the novel. She is intelligent, outspoken, and critical of the colonial education system that seeks to suppress her identity. Nyasha's struggles with bulimia and mental health issues are symbolic of the nervous conditions caused by the pressures of living in a colonized society, where cultural and personal identities are constantly in conflict. As Tambu excels at the mission school, she begins to internalize some of the values of the colonial education system. While she is grateful for the opportunities Baba Mukuru has provided, she also becomes increasingly aware of the limitations and expectations placed on her as a black girl in a colonial society. Tambu's education is both empowering and alienating. It opens up new possibilities for her, but it also distances her from her roots and her family. This internal conflict highlights the complexities of navigating a colonial world, where the pursuit of individual success often comes at the cost of cultural disconnection. A key moment in the novel occurs when Baba Mukuru insists on organizing a formal wedding for Tambu's parents, Jeremiah and Mshingei, to correct the fact that they were traditionally married. This event exposes the deep cultural tensions within the family. Tambu is initially conflicted, feeling both pride in her uncle's achievements and discomfort with his attempts to impose Western values on the family. The wedding becomes a site of resistance, particularly for Mshingei, who views it as an unnecessary humiliation. Tambu's decision to refuse participation in the wedding is a pivotal act of defiance, marking her growing awareness of the complexities and contradictions of her situation. As Tambu matures, she becomes increasingly aware of the gender inequalities that pervade both her family and the larger society. She observes how women, including her mother and aunts, are confined to traditional roles and denied the same opportunities as men. This realization is particularly stark in the contrast between her own experiences and those of her cousin, Nyasha, who, despite her education and intelligence, is still expected to conform to restrictive gender norms. Tambu's growing awareness of these issues contributes to her evolving understanding of herself and her place in the world, as she grapples with the tension between her ambitions and the societal expectations placed on her as a woman. Nyasha's mental breakdown is a turning point in the novel, revealing the devastating impact of the pressures she faces. Nyasha's struggle with bulimia and her eventual collapse are symbolic of the broader, nervous conditions experienced by those who are caught between conflicting cultural identities. Her breakdown forces Tambu to confront the darker side of the colonial education system and its dehumanizing effects. Nyasha's suffering serves as a stark reminder of the personal cost of assimilation and the dangers of losing one's cultural identity. This event deeply affects Tambu, leading her to question the path she is on and the values she has begun to internalize. After witnessing Nyasha's breakdown, Tambu's perspective on her own life and aspirations begins to shift. She starts to recognize the limitations of the colonial education system and the ways in which it perpetuates inequality and cultural alienation. Tambu's journey is one of self-discovery, as she navigates the complexities of her identity as a young black woman in a colonized society. While she remains committed to her education, Tambu also becomes more critical of the structures that have shaped her life. Her evolving perspective reflects the broader themes of the novel, which challenge the reader to consider the costs of progress and the importance of cultural and personal integrity.